Jake Haener's first NFL start did not go the way he would have hoped, as he was benched by halftime for rookie quarterback Spencer Rattler, who showed flashes and a lot of promise in the second half and almost led the Saints back for the win after being down 17-0. Spencer Rattler was not the only guy who shined for the Saints though. In Sunday's game, running back Kendra Miller also had himself a pretty good game as well. And while the Saints lost, it doesn't feel like a loss because of how these guys performed. It feels better than the game last week versus the Giants, in which they won. We gotta talk about this Saints and Commanders game. Sorry, this video is a day late. There is a storm here, and basically the whole weekend didn't have any power or Wi-Fi. I was lucky enough to even watch the game. So video's a day late, but doing what I can. It is what it is. Hopefully you still enjoy the content. Hopefully you are watching. And if you are, make sure you are subscribed to my channel. We're close to 10K, or we're getting towards 10K. That's one of the goals for 2025. 71% of you who watch my videos are not subscribed, so might as well, while you're here, hit that red button and help out the channel. With all that being said, let's dive into the Saints and Commanders breakdown. Let's start off by talking about Jake Haener, as he started the game and was named the starter earlier in the week by interim head coach Darren Rizzi. Honestly speaking, at first I thought it was the right move to start Jake Haener. I thought he earned the opportunity to start. You gave Spencer Rattler 3 starts earlier in the season. You saw some tape on him, you saw some good and you saw some bad. Might as well give Jake Haener an opportunity, see if he can do anything, see some good, see some bad, and it was a lot of bad. We have a whole video covering on it, so if you want to see why I thought Jake Haener should have started, just go check that video out. But clearly starting Jake Haener was the wrong move for the Saints. It just felt like everything was moving too fast for him. The pocket awareness simply was not there. His dropbacks were too far back. He wasn't stepping up into the pocket. He wasn't reading the whole field. He looked like a deer in headlights. And if I'm being honest, my personal opinion is that Jake Haener looked worse than Spencer Rattler ever did in any of his 3 starts. And even just comparing their first half stats of their first NFL starts, Spencer Rattler was definitely better. This is my Twitter, so if you want to follow me on Twitter, go for it. Links in the description. But Spencer Rattler in the first half of his first NFL start, 11 of 17, 140 yards, 1 touchdown, 3 runs for 21 yards. The Saints had 27 points at halftime. Not all of them were because of him, but they had 27 points, 7 first downs, and he was sacked once. Jake Haener, in the first half of his first NFL start, he went 4 of 10. This is the typo. He went 4 of 10, 49 yards, 0 touchdowns, threw 1 pretty bad interception, ran 1 time for 7 yards, had 0 points, 2 first downs, and 3 sacks. It was not a good first half for Jake Haener, not even a good start in the first half for Jake Haener. Granted, there was a dropped pass and a play called back due to a penalty, but those are 2 plays, and this simply is not it. 2 first downs in 1 half is insane. And according to ESPN research, the Saints had 38 total yards in the first half with Jake Haener. And that is the fewest in a half since the second half against the Bengals on December 22nd of 2002. Aaron Brooks was the Saints starting quarterback. Jim Haslett was the head coach. Jake Haener would have been 5 years old at the time. So yeah, Jake Haener, there were some things maybe that was called back, or there was a drop pass that wasn't his fault. This simply was not serviceable and sustainable, and something had to be done, and he had to be benched. And what makes this worse is that earlier in the week, Jake Haener said that he was going to be confident, he was going to let it rip, he has nothing to lose. And then he just went out there and he did not look confident, he looked uncomfortable, and he did not let it rip at all. He just looked like a deer in headlights. He didn't look ready. It looked like the lights were too bright for him. And on top of that, it doesn't help too. Jake Haener said Derek Carr had been watching Commanders film with him and giving him some input, giving him some pointers. And for that to be the result is pretty funny, but also not funny either. I will say this is a pretty cool gesture though from Derek Carr. He gave Jake Haener 10 tickets to his press conference box for his friends and family. So that was a cool moment and cool gesture from Derek Carr. But back to just the game in general. Jake Haener at quarterback, it simply and was very obviously not working out, and he needed to be benched. And while Darren Rizzi made the wrong decision to start Jake Haener, credit to Darren Rizzi for having the balls to bench Jake Haener for Spencer Rattler and make a move. Some coaches would stick by their pride and their ego and they wouldn't make that move. Shout out to Darren Rizzi for being willing to make that move and start Spencer Rattler at halftime, bench the guy who has not been able to put up numbers. He could have been like, oh, we'll make some adjustments in the second half for Haener. No, he had the balls to say, this isn't working, let's try something new. And man, did it work out, and this seems like a good time to start talking about the rookie Spencer Rattler. And man, oh man, did this guy show a lot of promise and potential in the second half of this game. I mean, simply just looking at the stats for Spencer Rattler, you wouldn't be like, oh wow, he had a great game. Had 10 of 21, not even 50% of his attempts were completed. Only 135 yards, 1 touchdown, 0 sacks, 0 picks, 0 rushing yards. So on paper, this is not a great stat line, but that's why you don't base everything off of stats. While the stats say one thing, when you watch the game and look at the film, it says a completely other thing. And honestly, this might have been the best we've seen Spencer Rattler look in the Saints uniform. Even in the first half of that Bucs game, he did some good things. He made some pretty good throws, but man, this second half versus the Commanders was really good. And you could debate it, but it might be the best he's looked for the Saints. Spencer Rattler came into the game down 17-0. Came into the game, I believe this was like his fourth throw of the game. This is a crazy throw that he had to Marquez Valdes-Scantling. Steps up into the pocket. Shout out to him. His pocket awareness in this game looked a lot better. He seemed confident, didn't seem scared. Steps up into the pocket, good pocket awareness. Really can't step up into this throw. This is just pure arm talent right here. Throws this deep to MVS, makes a great catch, and they were already in the red zone. And with this throw, Spencer Rattler had already more passing yards on the day than Jake Haener. Now, some people can argue, oh, he got lucky, the defense played a bad play. But looking back over and over, this seems like a throw put exactly where it needed to be for his guy to go make a play. I think it's a good throw. I could see why some people would say it was more of the catch or bad defense. Either way, though, it worked out. And after this play, literally the play after this huge gain and throw from Spencer Rattler, the Saints pull off a trick play, and Alvin Kamara makes a crazy catch. Shout out to Cedric Wilson for this catch. Look at the blocking up here. Cedric Wilson goes deep to Alvin Kamara and makes a one-handed snag. This is an absolutely good design by Clint Kubiak. Great catch from Alvin Kamara. Just great concentration. Alvin Kamara's done a lot of crazy things in the Saints uniform. This has to be at the top of the list as one of the best or craziest things that he's ever done. This catch is unreal. And the fact that he got 2 feet and accounted for a touchdown is crazy. Not even just on that one throw from Spencer Rattler to MVS was good, but throughout the whole game, Spencer Rattler looked confident in the pocket. Like I said earlier, he looked like a guy who learned from his past mistakes in his other 3 starts. Looked like a guy who prepared this week as if he was starting, even though he wasn't. He went through his reads, he was reading the field correctly, and he looked like a guy who was ready for the moment and the lights were not too bright for him. He looked confident, he looked comfortable, and really for a 5th round rookie quarterback who got benched earlier this season, that's what you want to see. You want to see a guy who isn't scared because he got benched last time. This is a guy who let it loose, he was playing like himself, and we saw that on Sunday. Spencer Rattler led 4 drives in the second half, and all of them resulted in points. And he almost led a comeback when they were down 17-0 when he finally got onto the field. He almost had a great comeback. On that final drive, he went 5 of 6. He was poised. He didn't feel rushed. He looked like a guy who was calm and was making the right reads. He didn't look like a guy who the 2-minute game-winning drive comeback, that didn't seem like too big of a moment for him either. And that's important to know about a guy who could potentially be an NFL starting quarterback in the future. Now that final drive, Spencer Rattler did some good things, had some poise, had some confidence, but of course he did have some help from his running back, Kendre Miller, who was filling in for Alvin Kamara, who left the game early with a groin injury. He was in the injury tent, and then here's a clip of him walking to the locker room. And according to Nick Underhill, this tweet, he says Alvin Kamara is considered day-to-day after exiting Sunday's loss to the Commanders. The Saints play Monday night, so Kamara will have an extra day to rest. I don't know if he plays. Alvin Kamara has been playing all season with a broken rib, broken hand, hip pointer, and for him to leave the game and then go to the locker room, he's got to be in a pretty good amount of pain. He's got to be in a lot of discomfort. So we'll see how things go for Alvin Kamara. But while Alvin Kamara was out, Kendre Miller came in and started cooking. Now, I want to go on a little bit of a rant here. Why the hell did it take an Alvin Kamara injury for Clint Kubiak in this offensive staff to realize and to finally give Kendre Miller the ball? And when Kendre Miller gets the ball, he gets 8 yards, 17 yards, 12 yards, 10 yards, 12 yards. And they still refuse to give him the ball. I simply do not get it. He averaged 5.1 yards per carry on 9 touches. 2 or 3 of those runs were negative yards. I don't understand why Kubiak refuses to give Kendre Miller the football. Have a split backfield. Give Alvin Kamara less carries so he takes less hits. Good teams have a running back duo. Look at the 2017 Saints. Look at the Lions right now. I don't know why Kubiak just refuses to utilize Kendre Miller more, and I don't understand why it took an Alvin Kamara injury to give Kendre Miller the ball. I hate to see injuries, and I don't ever want to see anyone get hurt, but Alvin Kamara leaving the game early and Kendre Miller doing some good stuff, hopefully that opens the eyes of Kubiak and they're like, oh, this guy's a good football player, let's give him the ball more. Every time the guy touches the football, he gets like 6 yards. Why are you not trying to give that guy the football? He only had like 1 carry in the first half. Why is this not even like glazing or anything? Kendre Miller might be like their best offensive weapon right now. Or outside of Alvin Kamara, Kendre Miller might be their best offensive weapon. And as a roster, as a whole, pure talent, he's probably top 5, top 7, 10-ish. Like he's in the top range of pure talent. And they just refuse to give him the ball. Hopefully moving forward, they realize that this guy's a good football player and they give him more carries. I know there's the whole injury concern. Screw that. If he's active and he's playing, give him the damn ball. That's it for my rant. Now let's continue talking about the final drive. Kendre Miller and Spencer Rattler led the team down the field. And then at the end, literally with 0 seconds left on the clock, Spencer Rattler threw this game potential winning touchdown to Foster Moreau. Shout out to Foster Moreau. He's the best tight end on the team. Taysom Hill is like a wildcat player, whatever. But Foster Moreau is the best tight end, pure tight end on this team. And man, good job from Rattler going through his reads, being calm. Moment was clearly not too big for him. Threw a touchdown, and they almost won the game because of it. Now to talk about the 2-point attempt that everybody is talking about. Was it good? Was it bad? It worked? It didn't work? Whatever. My personal opinion about the 2-point conversion play, it was the absolute right decision. You have momentum on your side. You just scored a touchdown. Your defense has been struggling for a good amount of the game. They barely got off the field last time. You're in position to win the game. Go for the win. I love it. I love it. The players wanted to go for the win. They went for the win. My issue is the play call. You're already at the goal line. The field is already minimized and shrunk. And then Clint Kubiak calls the stupid play that eliminates 50% of the left side of the field. Spencer Rattler's rolling out right and has 2 reads. And if the first read isn't there, then the play is cooked. And even when you look at the play, it's a bad call from Kubiak. They should have run something completely different. And the throw still hits Juwan Johnson where it needs to be. He needs to make this catch. I think maybe Foster Moreau makes this catch. I don't know. Hits him in the hands. This has to be caught, and it simply wasn't. Now I know some of you are gonna argue that Kevin Austin back here is open. This guy's coming down. Yeah, he's open, but guess what? The ball hit Juwan Johnson in the hands. It was the right read. That's the primary read, and it hit him in the hands. That's a play a guy in the NFL has to make. He's getting paid like $12 million right now. He's in a contract year. This is a play that needs to be made, and it wasn't. The throw was where it needed to be, and the catch wasn't made. Cam Jordan post-game on going for 2. Why would you not go for 2? The momentum was there. Spencer Rattler was playing his ass off. Big confidence boost for the young quarterback. Mentioned the energy he brought to the team, and not one player did not want to go for it. So going for it was the right move, was the right call. The play call from Clint Kubiak was not it. So moving forward, we do have to talk about this. What should the Saints do at quarterback? My personal opinion, I would let Spencer Rattler finish off the season. No point in rushing Derek Carr backroom injury sooner than he needs to be. No point in putting a guy with a fractured hand out there in Lambeau Field in the cold weather. You're asking for fumbled snaps, fumbled handoffs. You're asking for him to get hurt again. The hits in the cold are harder. Landing on the grass in the cold is harder. No point in rushing him back, but Derek Carr obviously is going to do everything in his power to play. Me personally, I would start Spencer Rattler the rest of the season. You know what Derek Carr is. He's in year, 11? Year 12? He is what he is. He's a guy who will not win a playoff game, especially for this team. But Spencer Rattler is a guy who could potentially be your future starting quarterback. And you have 3 games left in the season. You're not going to make the playoffs. See what you have in the young rookie quarterback. It makes the most sense. You're paying Derek Carr $40 million next season. If you start Rattler now and he shows out, then it makes moving off of Derek Carr's contract a lot easier. Now, whether or not the Saints will actually do this, I really don't know. But if Spencer Rattler does play Monday and he looks good, and then you start Derek Carr, people are going to be pissed. I think Darren Rizzi is a guy who's going to do whatever he can to win. But if someone in the coaching staff or someone in the front office is like, hey, start Rattler for the future, we need to see what this guy is, I think he would do it. But as to whether or not the Saints organization as a whole would agree with it, I don't think so. I think the organization as a whole would rather see Derek Carr play, and that's the sad part about this. They would not want to see what they have in this young, talented rookie quarterback. And you very clearly need to see what you have in Spencer Rattler, because look, the Saints have had 3 quarterbacks played the last 2 weeks. All of them had the same offensive line, same receiver, same tight end, same offensive coordinator, same head coach. These are the results. Derek Carr, 11 drives, 14 points. Haener, 5 drives, 0 points. Rattler, 4 drives, 19 points. Rattler scored on all his drives. This is against the Washington Commanders team who maybe they beat if Spencer Rattler starts. Maybe things change though because the team has a full week to prepare against Spencer Rattler. Then maybe he struggles a little bit more. But he looked good, and it's hard to see the argument that the Saints lose if Spencer Rattler starts this game. 10 of 21, 4 of 10, like the stats and the numbers and the drives and the points. Rattler has played the best out of all these QBs the past 2 weeks. That's all I want to talk about offensively for the Saints. As for the defense, it was a mixed bag to me of both good and bad. The defense on the day had 8 sacks. Cam Jordan looks pretty good out there. He had 2 sacks, a pass deflection, TFLs, QB hits. He looked good. I thought Brian Brzee had a good game, even though he didn't get a sack. I thought he was dominating the front, creating pressure to Jaden Daniels. I thought he's been one of the better players as of recently. Carl Granderson was active. Chase Young had 2 sacks in his revenge game. The front four for the Saints was looking pretty good. They were doing their job. They're getting pressure. Now, as for the secondary, they struggled a little bit more. Alontae Taylor and Kool-Aid McKinstry struggled. They gave up big plays to Terry McLaurin. They gave up touchdowns. And moving forward, I have no confidence in the cornerback room. And if the Saints are at pick 10 and Will Johnson from Michigan is there for the Saints, you got to draft him. He is the best player available. You need another cornerback. Alontae Taylor is proving that maybe he can't be a number 1 guy. Kool-Aid McKinstry has been struggling. The Saints might need to draft another corner. I will say someone in the secondary who did have a decent game though was Ugo Amadi. He had a sack, a nice pass deflection. But overall, the secondary just has not been good since trading away Marshon Lattimore, who coincidentally just got his first NFL start as a Washington Commander, made his debut versus the Saints in the Superdome. And guess what? We did not hear his name once. He was not targeted once. And it hurts to see this because the Saints right now need a cornerback, but guess what? They also needed the draft picks in which they got from Marshon Lattimore. It's just like, damn, they traded away a top 3 corner. The secondary is struggling right now. And now you might have to end up using your top pick in the draft on a corner. However, though, it is important to note Lattimore has been out, 5-6 games or whatever with an injury. His age is up there. His salary is up there. The Saints are trying to get younger, and they're trying to clean up the cap. Moving off of Lattimore was important to do, but also it's like, damn, this secondary sucks. We just traded Lattimore away, and now we're going to have to use a top first-round pick on another corner. It's just like, damn. But yeah, Marshon Lattimore did what Marshon Lattimore does on Sunday. He wasn't targeted. He did what he does, wasn't targeted. That's just him. I don't have much else to say. Shout out to Blake Groupie though. He's been struggling the last fewish weeks. He bounced back, made a 51-yarder and like a 41-yarder. Helped keep the Saints in the game. I thought he looked good. And how about the Darren Rizzi Devil Magic? All of these kickers are missing kicks against the Saints now. Before DA was fired, the Saints would be lucky for the kicker to miss one. The Saints are averaging like 2 or 3 missed kicks a game. It's insane how many kicks are being missed since Darren Rizzi took over. And last thing to mention, the Saints, after losing on Sunday, are now 5-9, sitting at the 10th overall pick in the NFL draft. It is actually insane how many bad teams there are in the NFL. 3-11, like what, 3-11 teams is insane. The Bears play tonight. I don't know if they win, if the Saints go down to 9. But I'm at the point where I'm starting to think the Saints in the draft are going to be picking between 8 and 12 range. And now looking back, the Saints could have lost to the Giants. They could have lost to the Browns. And then right now, that'd put them probably at the 6th overall pick. But they didn't, and the Saints are now sitting at 5-9 with the 10th overall pick, and chances are they'll be picking within that range in April. That's all I got for the Saints and Commanders game. Thanks for tuning in. Let me know what you think the Saints should do at quarterback. It's very interesting. Should Rattler start? Should Derek Carr come back? What is best for the Saints moving forward at quarterback? Let me know down in the comments. Make sure you are subscribed to my channel, Cash Sports. We got more videos coming out this week later on in the future. So make sure you are subscribed. Have a good one. Peace.